Coming up on Morning Drive.
Monday it is. We're going to have a sixth playoff hole at 8 o'clock local.
We've got the live conclusion to the Farmers Insurance Open as Jason Day and Alex Noren square off at Torrey Pines. We'll bring you inside the ropes as they warm up for their sudden death tee time. Plus, the golf world was abuzz about the lack of urgency on display from the final group in San Diego, highlighted by J.B. Holmes' filibuster on 18.
At some point, you got to hit the shot.
Find out just how long it took Holmes to play a single shot and the sluggish pace it took his group to play 18 holes. Meanwhile, Brittany Lincecum successfully defended her title in the Bahamas in dramatic fashion.
Brittany goes back-to-back in the Bahamas.
We've got the LPGA highlights as players raced against the clock to finish in the dark. And Tiger Woods' first tournament of the calendar year, it's officially in the books. But what grade does the 14-time major champion deserve for his top 25 finish? We want to hear from you. All that and more is next this Monday, January 29th, 2018. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Lauren Thompson here, the rest of our team in moments. Yesterday's playoff at Torrey Pines spilling into today, and Morning Drive leading you into the live resumption of play in the Farmers Insurance Open. But one man who played the weekend with a packed gallery in tow, feeling grateful. Tiger Woods putting this out on Twitter saying, "I can't thank the San Diego fans enough. I scrambled my butt off, but happy with his first event back, spinning it forward to Riviera and the Genesis Open in mid-February." Now, he wrapped things up in a tie for 23rd. So this brought us to our question on social media. We're going to need your help with this. Give Tiger a grade for the week. Break out that red pen. We're going to be getting to some of those responses coming up, and your responses are going to lead us into a discussion for our team in Studio AP as we welcome them in now. Damon Hack, Paige McKenzie, and Robert Dameron. Good morning.
Good morning, LTS, our LPGA veteran, our PGA Tour winner. Let's jump right into what's happening now. 5 playoff holes, not enough for the world number 14, Jason Day, and the world number 19, Alex Noren. Yesterday, they chased darkness. 2 players really trying to establish themselves. One, a former world number 1 in Jason Day, a former world number 1, and yes, Alex Noren trying to win for the first time on the PGA Tour. So our coverage begins at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Morning Drive will be with you every step of the way, folks. In case you missed it, yes, bonus golf in La Jolla yesterday. Paige McKenzie, this is the first playoff hole, and it looked like it would end quickly.
Yes, Alex Noren took a different strategy, hit it over the green in 2 in regulation, chose to lay up and hit a wedge into this green in 3, and nearly got a 3.
9-time winner on the European Tour, looking for that first breakthrough win on the PGA Tour. A kick-in birdie would be waiting for Alex Noren. Now, this is Jason Day putting for birdie, and this, Robert, essentially to extend.
Yeah, essentially to extend. You see Noren's coin there. He is not going to miss that putt. Jason, maybe he got a read from John Rahm last year about that same line, maybe 50 feet further.
And you could see Ryan Palmer was also part of the playoff. He dropped out from there. Now, Paige, onto the second playoff hole. This is Jason Day going for the green from the rough.
So good. Ball below his feet, mentioned it, out of the rough. And how good is that shot?
Very, very
almost
good.
Impossible to get it close to stop it in time to carry over that ridge by the water. But
speaks to his power. And now this for Eagle, Robert.
It looked like it jumped off the putter face just a tiny bit to the right. It was supposed to break some left, but I think it was right all the way.
He would make birdie, and the playoff continues. Now he spin ahead, Paige, to the 5th playoff hole. This is Noren's second shot from the intermediate cut.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice. He hit 3-wood off of the tee. He's been hitting driver, chose to lay up to this, or to hit to this number. I think that was the right number.
Absolutely. Wonderful shot there. And you can see right now the camera, they call it the aperture. The lens is wide open. It's getting darker and darker. Now this, Robert, is Jason Day.
Jason Day commented he could only barely see the yellow in the flag. He couldn't see the actual flag stick. Didn't matter. He knew where it was.
From 115 yards, leaving himself about 6 feet, Paige, for birdie.
Yeah, and a similar line to his previous putt. Was able to sneak that in the corner.
But the reaction there, too. No wins on the PGA Tour since the 2016 Players. He's thinking, maybe I have a chance, but Alex has other ideas, Robert.
Yeah, Dave thought maybe he had pulled the reversal. You know, Noren on the green putting for Eagle. Now it's facing a 3-putt, possibly, but Noren made that in the dark. Beautiful stroke.
The hats come off. Say, gentlemen, we'll see you in the morning. There you see the leaderboard. 3 players finished at 10 under par. You'll see Alex Noren and Jason Day. Our coverage begins at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And you see the notable Tiger Woods, his first event of 2018. I would say a very commendable tie for 23rd for the 14-time major champ. But we saw 2 great players, 2 top 20 players finishing in the dark. What did you take away from that 5-hole playoff?
It was interesting because both of those players did not play great in the last 9 holes of regulation. Both of them were 2 over par in the last 9, but both 3 under par in the 5-hole playoff. I thought it was tremendous. The match play mentality of going head-to-head, matching each other's shots. Alex Noren was interesting to me because he kept changing his strategy throughout, hitting different clubs off the tee, laying up, going for it. But I was just impressed with the quality of golf that we saw out of that playoff.
A lot of folks at home play golf. They like to chase the sunset. How difficult, Robert, is it to play great top-level golf in those types of conditions with the sun going down?
With the sun going down and the fact that everyone in the field has been all over those greens all day long, you can't even see the spike marks now. So the putts, especially the putts that Noren made in the last 2 playoff holes, he made back-to-back 5-6 footers to extend the playoff. Those were so impressive, and they were right in the middle, good solid putts. He looks like he really wants to win this event. I mean, he played strong. Even though you said 2 over the back 9 in regulation, he was going
His
for
putting down the stretch was impressive. A lot of great made putts. And as the darkness sets in, what you don't realize is that it actually takes the break out of it. You see less curvature in the putts, so you kind of have to mentally trust what you feel.
Go off memory.
Yes.
Yeah, both players, top 20 players in the world. Alex Noren, perhaps we'll see him on a Ryder Cup team for Europe in 2018. What else is happening now? We send it back to LT.
Well, another part of that long day in La Jolla that garnered attention was J.B. Holmes, and he was playing with Alex Noren's group. So Holmes 2 shots off the pace and his second shot on the final hole, facing a 230-yard approach and taking 4 minutes and 10 seconds while debating between clubs. So his indecision before pulling that trigger, then ultimately laying up and pulling a shot into the left rough, fire things up a bit on social media. Let's hear what some of the players had to say, including Luke Donald, who said the last group was over a hole behind. We can blame JB. And he said, yes, the players should take responsibility for their pace of play, but that's why they have tour officials. They need to step in his opinion. Also this from Daniel Berger, a little more subtle. He said most tour players aren't slow, but because of a handful of slow ones, we all get a bad rep. Different take, though, when you're talking about Jimmy Walker. He said, you be you, J.B. Holmes. Announcers forget how things were. Just one of multiple opinions flying from the Tour pros yesterday. This from Steve Flesh, a 4-time PGA Tour winner. He said, just to make everyone complaining about how long J.B. took to hit that shot on 18, 4 minutes, 10 seconds to be exact. He could have taken 6 minutes. Nothing would have been done. Last hole, last group. Something should have been said way earlier as we continue today on Morning Drive and get you back into the mix with Damon Hack.
All right, LT, it was a very interesting situation. J.B. Holmes, listen, a 4-time winner on the PGA Tour, but make no mistake, he is known as one of the most deliberate players, i.e. slowest players on the PGA Tour. Robert Dameron, this yesterday was something to see.
So this is something else, and let's forget the time he takes for a moment, which is just extraordinarily long. He needs eagle. He has to make eagle, and he's one of the longest hitters on the PGA Tour. He can reach easily. He can manufacture something, and he ends up laying up. It makes no sense. You remember Chip Beck in '93 Masters? I was one of the few people that understood why he laid up. There's a lot of things going on. He had 3 holes to go after that. I don't get this. I don't get the layup, and the time it takes is just extraordinarily bad. The Tour needs to absolutely do something about this. I mean, I know it's after the fact. You can't do penalty shots now. There has to be something done, though. That's 410 is
410 for a layup into the rough.
For a layup into the rough.
Yeah, speaking of 410, this is a few things in the world of sports that take under 4 minutes. How about the world record mile, the Kentucky Derby? The fastest golf hole, yeah, that's just seconds. Yesterday, JB, was minutes. And the fastest English Premier League hat trick in less than 3 minutes. Paige McKenzie, put yourself in the shoes, I guess, first of all, of Alex Noren and Ryan Palmer, who are waiting for J.B. Holmes to hit his shot.
I think when you're in the heat of the competition, a lot of times you don't understand how much time's passing. So my guess is, I'm hopeful anyway, that Alex Noren wasn't thrown off too much by the amount of time that JB Holmes was taking. I think from JB's perspective, I understand that he was deliberating. I understand he needed eagle and he could have potentially gotten in the clubhouse at -10 and got in that playoff. But that was just rude. It's not something you do when you're competing week in and week out with your playing partners and the friends on tour. I thought it was just a rude thing to do in the heat of the moment. I understand why it takes longer, but that was ridiculous.
There were people that were upset, yelling at the television yesterday. Robert, what was your take?
Well, Mark Calcavecchia tweeted it, horrendous sportsmanship. And
wow.
That's the best way you can put it. JB did say, I'm trying to win a golf tournament. Guess what? So are Noren, so are Palmer. And they're allowed to hit their shots within a certain amount of time, and JB stopped that. It's like icing the kicker. Why do you ice the kicker? To hope he misses.
Right.
I don't think JB was hoping that they miss.
I'm pretty certain JB wasn't thinking about anybody else.
I think he wasn't either, but you're supposed to. That's just part of it. When you're in a group, you're supposed to think of the other people. I think at worst, he should have at one point looked over to Noren and said, I can't make my mind up.
Right.
Do you want to go? Do you want to hit? At least give him that option. I can't see any positive, anything good about the whole way it transpired.
Well, part of the issue also is JB Holmes has a reputation. And this isn't the first time we've seen him deliberate over a golf shot. So I think that's why you saw the intensity of the responses on Twitter, not just from the public, but from fellow peers.
I would agree with that. And the other thing to consider is that Ryan Palmer hit before JB. JB was to his ball 2 minutes or so before the 4-minute countdown. So he had an enormous amount of time to consider the golf shot even before it was his turn to play.
I can't believe there's a consideration. He needed eagle. You know, Jason Day's in at 10 under. You're at 8. I have to give. He's okay. It's a holeable wedge shot, maybe. No one holed it yesterday, and if you go for it, you give yourself 2 chances. You can hit a good shot, or you can chip in. If you lay up, there's only 1 chance you've got to hole it.
He did address that after the round, and he mentioned he was in between 3 and 5 when he felt like he was going to hit it over the green and thought it was a better chance to make eagle hitting wedge shot in than trying to chip it in from over the green.
What should the tour do? I mean, a slow play penalty for Glenn Day back in 1995, one last year in the team event in Zurich for Miguel Angel Carballo and Brian Campbell. I mean, the problem is, they weren't on the clock at that point.
No,
the PGA Tour won't hand out a penalty. First, you have to get warned, then you're on the clock, and then you have to come in arrears of the rule.
Well, so you just said it. The last penalty before the two-man team last year was 1995. Trust me, I played in those years. Slow play was not abolished. They should have had penalties at that time. There was plenty of it going on. Hopefully, the good thing that can come out of this is there is enough of a social media response to where the tour is now forced to enforce that slow play rule harder and more sternly than they do now, because obviously they just always let it slide. Steve Flesch said he could have taken 6 minutes, nothing was going to be done.
This is a single circumstance that there's not a whole lot, I don't feel like, that can be addressed, but I think it's going to bring awareness that every single week from here on out, people are going to be paying attention and going to be watching the PGA Tour to see if they're going to respond to slow play.
Yeah, absolutely. And this week, the Waste Management Phoenix Open, JB Holmes has won it twice. It'll be interesting to see what the crowd reaction is, perhaps, when he steps on that 16th tee. Much more reaction a little bit later. Let's send it back to LT.
Because that is the loudest hole in golf. But now let's hone into Tiger Woods making his calendar year debut, as well as his first official PGA Tour event since last year's Farmers Insurance Open. Now, he carded rounds of 72, 71, 70, and then a final round 72 that had him finishing the week at Torrey Pines in a tie for 23rd place. So we asked you earlier to give the 14-time major champion a grade for the week. We've got a lot of responses already come in, so let's tackle a few of those now. This is coming from Wes, saying an A, made the cut, shot even or better every round. You could tell he was grinding all the way, though, but I bet this is the most pleased he has been with his game in a long time. Tiger Woods did seem very optimistic throughout the week and satisfied. Dean saying B+. Yes, he's playing golf. And top 25 at a PGA Tour event, not too shabby. Keep these coming our way at GC Morning Drive. More responses on the way as we get you back to Damon.
All right, LT, Tiger Woods in a red shirt on Sunday at Torrey. What's old is new again. This is the 17th hole. Paige McKenzie putting for par from 15 feet.
Yeah, and after hitting from the fairway bunker over the green, chip to that, almost was able to save par.
It would make bogey, dropping back to 3 under par. At that point, Woods now at the 18th hole, par 5. Robert, this is his third.
And this is a beautiful little shot, and this is a shot that you get dialed in by playing a lot of golf. He obviously hasn't been playing a lot of golf, but he hasn't lost all his touch, I assume.
Just love this shot. This was really one of his hallmarks at the height of his power. The soft arm wedge hits it to just a few feet. He would make birdie there to get to 4 under par. Now on to the first hole. Paige, this has been his nemesis. He doubled it 3 times during the 2008 U.S. Open. This one was pipe.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of highlights of the chipping and putting. We haven't seen a lot of highlights with the driver in the hand. This one, take it in, soak it in. We find fairway.
358 yards. That's one of 17 fairways he would hit on the entire week. And the longest measured drive on the PGA Tour for him in 940 days. Robert Dameron, this is the second hole for Tiger, and this is his second shot.
His short game was so good. This pitch doesn't look like there's much to it, but we saw a lot of guys have it, and a lot of guys knocked it all the way over the green. It's so fast over that knob that he just got it over. That is much better than it appeared to be.
Yeah, he showed a lot of versatility with his short game. Definitely was a concern for a lot of viewers going into the week. Now it was a birdie that got him to 6 shots back. Paige McKenzie, here's Tiger on the 4th hole, his tee shot.
Unfortunately, the enthusiasm of fairway hit is gone. We can see wide right. Difficult driving hole, difficult driving golf course. I'll give him that. But this one, fairway's not in frame.
Yeah, water left, and then he hits his drive to the right. He would make bogey to drop back to 4 under par. Now the 5th hole, Robert Dameron. This is his second shot from the rough, and this was a touch of class.
Again, you can't spin it out of this deep cabbage, but Tiger knows a few ways around not being able to spin it. Gets a good yardage, front edge from his caddy Joe LaCava, releases it back there beautifully.
Some would say he hit that the right way to about 4 feet now. He's going to have this putt for birdie, Paige.
So many solid putts this week. That one just looked a little off, maybe.
Yeah, it was a week that had a little bit of everything. For the 14-time major champion, his 2018 debut, you see the final round score, even par, 72, and a player who finished tied for 23rd. I mean, the predictions were for everything. He's going to win. He's going to shoot 80-80 and miss the cut. Paige, what did you take from the week? Because it really did have a little bit of everything.
It did. I thought that his heart and his scrambling looked amazing.
Okay.
I loved watching the up and downs. I think that was the biggest question mark moving into this next the phase of his career, was where was his short going to stack up, and I thought it looked gorgeous. It looked wonderful. I'm a little bit concerned with the drives off the tee, Robert. There's definitely some negative takeaways from the week for that.
Some, I think you're justified in your concern the way we saw it. And I love in our highlights, we showed the one putt he missed all week and the one fairway he hit all week. we had to vary it in there. Tiger, it makes me very curious what's going to happen at Riviera. If he goes to Riviera with the same short game and his driver's a little better, he's going to be in contention. If he goes to Riviera with the same driver and his short game's a little worse, he's going home Friday bad. So we got some improvement to do and some questions to be answered.
Did he exceed your expectations this week?
Yes.
How about you?
Well, without question.
What does it tell you that he could shoot, what did he finish? 3 under, tied for 23rd. We hit 17 I mean, would other players, you put other players in this situation, how would they fare?
How about the fact that in his post-round interview, he says, I think 65 would have gotten in the playoff. That's where his mindset's right now.
And it would have.
Yes, and he would have. He was walking to the first tee on Sunday morning saying, I still have a chance. That's the Tiger Woods I love to see.
I said this morning, I'll say it again, if you put the rest of the field in the spots he drove it all week and everybody plays from Tiger's driver, Tiger wins this tournament by 10 shots. No one comes close to playing as well as he did from that point in.
Just clean up the driver, and Genesis could be a different week for him?
I think so.
And potentially a winning week for him, Robert.
He wants that one probably as much as any. That's the one that's always eluded him.
I keep thinking about what John Cook says when people doubt Tiger and his comebacks. He just says, careful.
Yeah,
careful.
He is Tiger Woods. I always say something negative, and then I go, but he is Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
so
it'll be fun to watch him in a couple of weeks at Riviera, a place where he's never won. Let's send it back to Lauren Thompson.
Always an asterisk when talking about Tiger Woods, no matter where he is on that leaderboard. The competitive juices, he will never leave those. Well, still on the way for this Monday edition of Morning Drive. We almost had a continuation of live golf in the Bahamas, but leave it to the defending champion, Brittany Lincecum, to run, really put the pedal to the metal, and make another W happen. So we're going to show you just how she did it, the highlights in case you missed it, and what you can learn from it all. And you've seen the commercials for a while on Golf Channel, and today is the day. The skill code featuring the longtime swing coach of Jordan Spieth starts tonight, and Cameron McCormick himself has a preview of his lessons that he has on the way for you before that premiere this evening. Plus, there were plenty of highs and lows when assessing Tiger's 4 days at Torrey Pines. That top 25 finish, leaving his fans hungry for more. So to hold everyone over until we see him again at the Genesis Open, we're going to relive Tiger's top shots that demand an encore from all 4 rounds of the Farmers Insurance Open. Now, once again, posing this question on Twitter, we need you to chime in. Give Tiger a grade for this week at Torrey Pines. Is it an A? Is it all the way to an F? Lots of opinions circling right now when talking about this 14-time major champion and his week in the books already. So get those going our way at GC Morning Drive. We will stick around right after this. Hope you will too. All Monday long, right?
Oh, yeah. All Monday long. GC will be here.
Monday?
Yeah. Today's Monday. Oh. Yeah.